the man who defied the Sauds and vanished. What happens when a single man dares to raise his voice against one of the most powerful and wealthy dynasties in the world? In the heart of the Arabian Peninsula, where oil fortunes created kings and silence was the price of survival, one man chose defiance. His name was Nasser Al Saeed, a writer, activist and political dissident who accused the Saudi royal family of corruption, brutality and illegitimacy. He was not a soldier. He held no weapon. His only power was his voice and the truths he shouted when others remained silent. But in December 1979, under the chaotic shadow of the Mecca Uprising, Nasser Al Saeed vanished from the streets of Beirut. Some say he was kidnapped, tortured, and executed by Saudi agents. Others whisper of his body thrown from a helicopter into the empty desert. The official story: there is none. This is not just politics. This is true crime at its darkest, where power, fear, and silence erase a man from the face of the earth. And yet, his ghost lingers in every page he wrote, in every voice he inspired, and in the haunting mystery of his disappearance. Nasser Al Saeed was born in 1923 in the city of Hale, a place where the harsh desert shaped strong men and where the central government's reach was fragile. He grew up witnessing poverty, inequality, and the growing dominance of the House of Saud as they expanded their rule across the Arabian Peninsula. While the discovery of oil transformed the country into a kingdom of unimaginable wealth, those riches rarely reached ordinary people. Workers lived in poverty, stripped of rights, while the royal family consolidated luxury, palaces, and power. In the early 1950s, Nasser emerged as a leader among the workers employed by the oil giant Aramco. At a time when speaking against the royal family was a death sentence, he organized labor strikes, demanding fair wages, health care, and dignity. It was unprecedented. Thousands of men stood behind him, forcing the world's largest oil company to listen. But the protests quickly became political, challenging not just Aramco, but the monarchy itself. For the Saudis, this was intolerable. Nasser's speeches carried fire. He described the monarchy as oppressive and corrupt, a regime clinging to religion as a cover for greed. The government cracked down, arresting strikers and executing dissenters. Nasser narrowly escaped with his life. Exile became his only option, but exile did not silence him. It amplified him. From Damascus to Cairo, Nasser built his reputation as the most dangerous voice of opposition against the House of Saud. His weapon was not a gun, but a book. In 1965, he released Tarikh Al Sa'ud, the history of the Al Saud. In its pages, he accused the dynasty of illegitimacy, corruption, betrayal, and moral decay. He claimed their rise to power was soaked in blood and alliances with foreign powers. To his supporters, the book was explosive truth. To the monarchy, it was unforgivable blasphemy. The book spread secretly across the Arab world, smuggled by hand, whispered about in universities and coffee houses. Reading it in Saudi Arabia was dangerous, yet copies circulated like forbidden treasure. Every word written by Nasser was another cut against the image of the royal family. The monarchy branded him a liar, a traitor, a criminal. But they could not stop the echo of his words. From exile, he founded the Arabian Peninsula People's Union, a political organization dedicated to ending monarchy and replacing it with a republic. Radio programs carried his voice across the Middle East. He described torture chambers, silenced intellectuals, and executions hidden from the public eye. For many Arabs, he was a hero who dared to say what others could not. But for the House of Saud, he was now public enemy number one. Throughout the 1970s, Saudi intelligence escalated efforts to silence Nasser permanently. The monarchy feared him not only for his words, but for his timing. Oil had made Saudi Arabia rich beyond imagination, but the kingdom was still fragile. The Cold War turned the Middle East into a chessboard, and every dissident was a potential pawn for foreign powers. Nasser's network expanded. Dissidents from Yemen, Bahrain, and even within Saudi Arabia itself aligned with him. He predicted collapse, exposing secrets the regime worked tirelessly to bury. In public speeches, he accused the royals of using religion as a tool to control the people while secretly indulging in hypocrisy. These claims were scandalous in a society where criticizing the monarchy, or even hinting at it, was punishable by death. Agents followed him across borders, friends warned him of assassins, and he survived more than one attempt on his life. Still, he refused to retreat. His presence in exile symbolized resistance. Each broadcast, each letter, each rally deepened the monarchy's fury. Nasser knew his life was in danger. He even joked to friends that one day he might simply disappear. That prophecy was about to come true. On December 17, 1979, the streets of Beirut were tense. Lebanon was torn apart by civil war, its streets filled with militias, spies, and foreign agents. It was the perfect place for a disappearance. That evening, Nasser Al Saeed was lured into a meeting by men he trusted. Witnesses recall him stepping into a car. He was never seen again. Theories multiplied quickly. Some claimed Saudi agents kidnapped him, torturing him for weeks before killing him. Others whispered that he was flown back to Riyadh in secret, executed, and his body discarded in the desert. One chilling rumor insists he was thrown alive from a helicopter over the empty quarter, his body swallowed by endless sands. What is certain is this: Saudi Arabia never admitted involvement. Lebanon, drowned in its own chaos, offered no answers. His family begged for truth, but silence was the only response. The timing was no coincidence. Just weeks earlier, the kingdom had faced the Mecca Uprising, a shocking challenge to royal authority. Eliminating the most famous dissident at that moment sent a terrifying message. No one was untouchable. Decades later, Nasser Al Saeed's fate remains a mystery. His writings are still banned in Saudi Arabia, his name erased from official history, yet among dissidents, his ghost is alive. He is remembered as the first Saudi to openly defy the monarchy, the man who turned whispers into thunder. His disappearance is not just a tragedy, it is a crime, a warning, and a symbol of the price of truth in the face of power. True crime often tells stories of killers, greed, and betrayal. But this story is darker. It is about how power kills without fingerprints, how a voice can be erased not by bullets alone, but by silence itself. Nasser Al Saeed challenged the kingdom of silence, and he paid with his life. His story echoes today, in every journalist silenced, every critic jailed, every truth buried by those in power. Nasser's fate may never be solved, but his courage remains. He proved that sometimes the most dangerous weapon in the world is a man who refuses to stop speaking.